Hey everyone, this is TJR. Taking a little break from the work I'm doing on my many music-related videos to just be a fanboy for a few moments and talk about the release of the new Justice League trailer that premiered at Comic-Con this weekend and is available online. Right from the beginning, I've always felt that Warner Brothers has just been rushing headlong into doing Justice League out of a sense of greed more than anything else. They haven't shown the kind of patience and care that Marvel has shown with their franchise and the respect for their audience that they've shown with their franchise. So I've felt like they haven't earned the right to just jump right into Justice League. In fact, initially, their plan was to, after Man of Steel, was just to do Batman v Superman and then jump right into Justice League. In fact, I really do feel that if Warner Brothers was in such a hurry to get to Justice League, they should have just started there. And by that, I mean, just like George Lucas with Star Wars, starting us right in episode 4, nothing more than a little prologue to get us up to speed, and then, boom, we're dumped into the universe. I think that would have been a better way to go. Just start right with Justice League, have the universe already fully formed, no origin stories. These characters have already been around for a while. There's already all these pre-established relationships. And let the story of this film start to drop clues about those relationships, about these backstories. And then let that film spin off into solo stories that give us the background of these characters. And let the Justice League film make us intrigued to want to know the background of these characters. That would have been a better way to go if you were in such a rush to get there. Warner Brothers has been trying to course correct this, and they made a really good course correction with Wonder Woman, which I spoke of very highly here on the channel in my review. And while that was a course correction, I still had a lot of trepidation about Justice League, which had already been well into production when Wonder Woman came out. One thing that did bother me about the previous trailer was just this little exchange between, Bruce Wayne and Barry Allen, the Flash, where Barry Allen says to him, what's your superpower again? And Bruce Wayne says, I'm rich. That scene really bugged me. That's the kind of thing that Tony Stark would say, not Bruce Wayne. I can almost see someone at Warner Brothers concluding, hey, Tony Stark is rich, Bruce Wayne is rich. Let's have Bruce Wayne talk more like Tony Stark. Audiences love that. Yes, they do when it's Tony Stark, but Bruce Wayne is not Tony Stark. This scene implies that Barry Allen knows that Bruce Wayne is Batman, and so Bruce Wayne would, even though he's not in costume as Batman, would speak as Batman to him during that moment, and he would not say, because I'm rich. Bruce Wayne, or I should say Batman's greatest power, is his mind, his brain. And the response he would have given as Batman would be something to the effect, and I'm not sure what exact lines he'd use, that would be in the hands of better writers than me, but he would say something to the effect that I'm 2 steps ahead of you. He would have said something that would have proved I'm always 2 steps ahead of you, because that's Batman. His contingency plans have contingency plans. So that scene really bothered me too, because it told me that Warner Brothers doesn't understand these characters from DC Comics that they own. And if they don't understand one of the biggest characters in their universe of comic book characters, how well do they understand the less famous characters? Then, of course, after the success of Wonder Woman, came the news that Zack Snyder and Warner Brothers had contacted Joss Whedon to rewrite a large portion of the Justice League movie. Prior to his success writing and directing, the last 2 Avengers movies for Marvel, prior to creating shows like Angel and Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Joss Whedon was well known in the industry as a script doctor. And in fact, perhaps one of the most well-known pieces of work that he did as a script doctor, which he never got any credit for, was Toy Story, which was a seminal film, a very important movie in motion picture history. It was the first completely CGI animated motion picture. I have to assume that the script for Toy Story really wasn't working. And had they not brought him in to work on it, you have to kind of wonder where animated films might have gone if Toy Story had not been as good of a movie as it was. Then, of course, there is the very tragic circumstances that led to Zack Snyder stepping down from the film and basically handing over the reins to Joss Whedon to direct the rewritten scenes for the movie. And I will not rehash any of that tragedy here. It's just too sad. So the first thing I noticed looking at this new trailer is, of course, it's a lot more Wonder Woman centric. This doesn't surprise me given the success that the Wonder Woman film has had. I can certainly see Warner Brothers getting behind that decision. After all, Wonder Woman was a big success, so please play her up in the trailer. But also, a lot of the rumors have stated that Wonder Woman's role was greatly expanded with the rewrites as well. And this is certainly evident when you see the Themyscirians in the trailer also. But I still have a lot of trepidations about this film because of the way that Warner Brothers has kind of crippled themselves with Batman v Superman. They killed Superman in that movie. I've said this before, I'll say it again. Killing off Superman in your second movie of your franchise is not something you should have done. You should have waited at least 10 movies before you did that. You should have built up to it, not blown your wad with it. And I feel like this cripples your first Justice League movie because you don't have Superman in it. I do realize, of course, that a large part of this film's plot will be about bringing back Superman. I realize that. But I feel like you've kind of already crippled yourself by putting yourself in that position in the first place. Of course, good writing can solve anything, so who knows? Let's see what happens. I just think it's not the place you want to start with. This trailer, of course, does address that the world is still mourning the death of Superman. And there's some voiceover from Ben Affleck as Batman Bruce Wayne, where he's saying, Superman didn't just save people, he made them see the best in themselves. One of the primary criticisms of Man of Steel was there was all this talk about Superman being this beacon of hope, Superman being this idea of hope. And yet throughout the movie, we didn't get to see a whole lot of that where, yes, he did some heroic things, but we don't get to see his deeds having a reaction on the public at large, where he does become this, where the people see this. And in Batman v Superman, we still didn't get to see much of that either. We mostly just saw a Superman in doubt of who he was and what he was trying to do and if he should be doing what he's doing. So I'm hoping that beyond this trailer, the movie helps address that. It helps give us a bit more reaction from the world in how it views Superman in that respect. There is a brief little clip where we see Bruce Wayne seeing a hologram of Superman. And that's another thing that has to be addressed. Batman tried to kill Superman in Batman v Superman. He tried to kill him. And he has to really answer for that. And I do realize, of course, that by the end of that film, he realized that he was paranoid, that he'd gone over the edge of extremism. He pulled away from that and now wanted to build this team of superheroes because he knew that there was something very dark coming. And of course, that dark thing that's coming is Darkseid, of course. And that's another problem I have with this. Darkseid is DC's biggest, baddest villain. He's their Darth Vader. He was created and published before Thanos. Thanos is very much Marvel's version of Darkseid. Of course, most people outside of comics don't know that. They're going to probably see Darkseid as basically a Thanos clone. But Marvel has been teasing Thanos since the first Avengers movie, and they've been building up to him and building up to him. That buildup, of course, will finally come to fruition when we get, Avengers Infinity War Parts 1 and 2. Once again, though, it just feels like Warner Brothers is just rushing into this. They haven't built up Darkseid properly, and I don't think he's going to have the impact that he should have. Once again, I hope I'm wrong, because good writing can fix almost anything. Oh, and all you fanboys out there at your keyboards right now letting me know, hey, it's not Darkseid, it's Darkseid. I don't care. When I read those comics as a kid, I read it as Darkseid, not Darkseid. Yes, I know he was called that in the cartoon show, but if I'm not mistaken, Jack Kirby, who created him, called him Darkseid. And that's what I call him. So as one fanboy to another, don't waste your time. I'm not even going to answer those comments. The trailer closes with a sequence where we see Alfred working in the Batcave. He looks up, he sees somebody, and says, "He said you'd come. Let's just hope you're not too late." Then we see the title on the screen saying "All In." And of course, that seems pretty obvious to me that this is Superman, the return of Superman. I'm glad that, of course, Superman's coming back. Always knew he would. But of course, having Henry Cavill's name in the credits for the film is kind of a dead giveaway. But once again, the death and return of Superman is something you need to build up to, and you need several movies at least to build up to it. One other little Easter egg that I caught during the trailer was a bit of voiceover from an unidentified character. Sounds like it's one of the bad guys saying, "There's no Kryptonian, there's no lanterns, this world will fall." And of course, the reference to no lanterns, of course, is a reference to the Green Lantern. It's interesting to note that the first Green Lantern movie starring Ryan Reynolds was originally going to be Warner Brothers' starting film for what they were going to start as their DC Comics Universe franchise, but the poor reaction to that film made them scrap that and, of course, start over again with Man of Steel. I love the Marvel Universe of comics and the films, but my introduction into comics was with the DC characters, and so those characters have always been very iconic to me. And of course, I want to see these films be really, really good. I feel that the writing and the situations created by the first three films in this series have specifically put this film at a real disadvantage and not at a good starting point. But once again, good writing can cure anything, so keeping my fingers crossed. So have you seen this trailer? What are your thoughts? Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? I'm curious to know what you have to say. This is TJR. I've got to get back to work on my more music-centered videos, and so this has been a nice break. Take care. Bye.